FNR, Football Nation Radio.
Putsianis, no call! Score!
Salamini for Cole. Cole on the run. Shoots. 2-0.
Lazanovsky with the free kick. Launches a rocket! Trimboli, what vision! Blasts. Yes! Heads
Miljevic.
Beautiful ball! Here's Bozanic. They might have won it!
The Pioneers with George Donikian and George Kotsanis on FNR, Football Nation Radio.
I'm led to believe, G2, that tonight we should possibly reconsider renaming the program because our special guest, our pioneer...
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did. You just weren't paying attention. I have renamed the show. It's the Jim O'Reilly Show.
The Jim O'Reilly Show.
Come on,
Or
please.
You Old Is that the one?
Yer Auld.
Yer Auld.
Yeah.
Okay. At what stage do you want me to play the music?
Oh, we'll get to
And
the
when
music.
does
You
the
build
drum
up
and
to-
the elephant come in?
You build up to everything, George. You just can't just go like a bull at a gate.
You mean like a winger that I used to know played for West?
I could go bull at a gate forward, not backwards.
We should mention that we've found ourselves another Scot.
We have
You
done
have,
that.
okay,
Yes.
from Glasgow.
Yes,
And
from
in fact,
Glasgow.
he looks really, really fit because he's about the same age as my brother. They were born the same year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, except this
So
one
what
was
was that,
born.
George?
This one was born in July. My brother was born in
What
August.
year?
53.
Okay, because
It
this
was a
is
very
radio.
good year.
Oh, yeah,
Very,
same
very
thing.
good year.
It was.
And more importantly, he arrived in Australia as a mere 20, 21, 22-year-old.
Yeah.
And he got to do something that very few people like us do.
Come on, the Pioneers.
No, play National League football.
Ah, the old NSL.
Yeah, the
yeah,
old
yeah.
NSL. The top of the league.
Yeah.
Jim O'Reilly, welcome to the Pioneers.
Thanks for having us, George. George or George.
I think he loves saying that.
Yes, no.
The two Georges.
Yeah, don't move your head too much, Jim. Anyway.
No, thanks for having us, boys.
No, that's all right. You'll get rid of that stutter.
Yeah. By the way, G2, George Kotsanis, loves very much taking our guests each and every week way back to a time when football was just forming in their minds. Can you remember your first game or your first time you picked up the ball, or maybe Bunty did something for you, your father?
Yeah, that was my dad's nickname, yeah, Bunty, even though he was called Henry. But it's like anything else being brought up in Glasgow. Once you're probably around about 5-year-old, you give a soccer ball to you and kicking it about all over the place. And
Was it a small one or the normal size?
no, the
one?
normal size ball, yeah.
Gee,
So
Straight to the foot.
So there's only really the one sport back in Glasgow was playing football. And
So
even at that age,
which side of the city are we talking about?
well, everybody knows Glasgow. You're either the green side or the blue side.
That's
so
what I'm asking. Which colour were you?
I was actually the green side, Glasgow Celtic.
You're a very brave man to say that, because
well-
a number of years later, as a mere 16 or 17-year-old, you played for the Rangers.
Yeah,
They
well,
were in Hong Kong, but
it wasn't the Glasgow Rangers, it was Hong Kong Rangers.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. You know what I mean?
So you're 5 or 6 years of age, and you've got this big football.
Yeah, well, as you say, everybody through school, you play school football. So that's probably the first stage. Playing football, as a team unit, is playing for the school teams, and obviously the same way again. The weekends you went to church and you played with the church teams. So you played 2 games a weekend, playing for the school team.
And there's a
And
YMCA team.
Then you played for the church team. So then when you become of age in your teens, I was so lucky to join Postal Park YMCA. It was a good YMCA like amateur team, who were one of the top amateur teams in Glasgow, who produced players like Kenny Dalglish, Dixie Deans, and probably a few others. And so I was really privileged to go there and play in my teenage years.
Did Bunty come and watch you play?
With my dad, it was very hard because he lived and breathed Celtic, and
He was a fanatic and he wanted to watch his own team.
he did take interest in what I was doing and if I was winning games, but at that stage, as I said, your fathers were more concerned travelling high and wide watching Celtic.
A year-long commitment.
Yeah, so that's the way it was. So I accepted that. You know what I mean? He was passionate Celtic supporter, and so was I actually. And so you try to see the big games, Celtic Rangers, when they came about. If I wasn't playing, you know what I mean. But
So who were your heroes as a youngster who were playing for Celtic?
oh well, as I say with Celtic, I'd been a centre half myself. You had Billy McNeil, who was obviously a Celtic captain for I don't know how long, you know, for decades. You know what I mean. And being a centre half, you always dreamed about playing for Celtic. You know what I mean. Being a young kid, you know what I mean. That was your dream, which I did have a chance, and I was out a couple of closed door trials with Celtic, and funny enough, my dad did come along to that. You know what I mean?
I was going to ask you.
I bet he did.
Did Bunty turn up when you did the Celtic trials?
Well, that was probably, he probably watched me 3 times against Celtic, but the first time was 2 closed door trials for Celtic at Parkhead, and it was a highlight of his probably life, because up in the stands he sat with Jock Stein, who was obviously a legend manager at Celtic, you know, with the Lisbon Lions, you know what I mean, and they got took round the trophy rooms, and
So you did your father a great favour.
yeah, so my father was
You gave
really,
him a unique moment.
yeah, so my father was delighted at that, you know, been out with Celtic a couple of times and meeting Jock Stein, and but I just mentioned the other side with Hong Kong Rangers. That's just a story.
We'll get to Hong Kong Rangers.
Yeah, well,
but just
no,
as a young guy, you're making your own way, and you get a couple of trials, Celtic and whatever. How does that come about? How does a lad?
You
What,
get a tap
what have
on the
you
shoulder?
done?
Well, that came about after Postle Park. Even from a young age, I played junior football, which was probably just like the VFL, the
Yeah.
Aussie rules.
Yes.
So at a young age,
The second string.
yeah,
league,
you know what I mean. So junior football was really tough and hard, and I was probably at my age. I probably looked older than what I was, and I was pretty well built lad. And
Did you have long hair?
I did flowing locks at the time, yeah, the blonde hair, you know what I mean. But don't you be cheeky, George, you know what I mean. No, but
I'm just trying to find a photo of you at Ashfield
Yeah,
Juniors,
well,
that's all.
Ashfield, yeah, and Pollock Juniors, yeah. Yeah, so I played junior football at a very young age, you know, which was a tough gig, you know what I mean. Playing a big centre
But a
forwards
great
back in the day.
experience.
Yeah, it was, yeah. So I was playing with Ashfield at the time, and a good friend of mine was playing down at Arsenal, and
Who was that?
Jamie Hughes, his name was.
Yep.
And they got a free transfer. He was a couple of years older than me, who played at Postal Park YM with me, and with the Hong Kong side, Jamie got a free transfer. It was funny because it saw some ad in Hong Kong, a team from Hong Kong looking for 5 players. So he thought of me, and I was on the building site at the time.
Gee.
And he went up to my house and said to my mum, "Have you got Jimmy's boots?" I said, "Oh, why? No, oh, don't worry, Mrs. O'Reilly. No, we're just going for a trial for some team, you know." So Jamie went up to the job. My mum gave him the address of the job I was on. He came up to the job, picked me up, and we were away to play East Kilbride Thistle, which was another junior club who I knew a few of the players. So there was all these players, maybe 22 players for 5 positions of this Hong Kong Rangers.
So they put together a scratch match of the best
That's
22
right,
or
two,
whoever
yeah.
wanted to apply effectively.
Yeah, so after the game they assessed the players' performances, and so we all lined up, and sure enough,
Jim O'Reilly.
So I went, "You're kidding me on." And I said to my mate Jamie, "There's no way I can go to Hong Kong." You know what I mean?
You're 16
I
years
can't
old, aren't
afford
you?
it.
16 and a half years of age. I'd served my apprenticeship, which my dad pushed me, obviously, to have a trade when you were younger. So that was a big thing. So I didn't tell the guy, "Look, I can't go." So driving home, and Jamie was dropping me home to my house, you know what I mean? And obviously my dad was home from work at that time.
Yeah,
And,
Celtic weren't playing.
So, and I'm saying to Jamie, "What am I going to tell my dad? You know, there's no way go in there and tell him I'm going to Hong Kong to play for a start. You know, so
Glasgow.
so my dad said, "Oh, how do you go, Jimmy?" Chip went in the house and all that, and oh, your mum said you're away for a trial, Jimmy. Who was it for? Oh, look, Dad, it was a club in Hong Kong. Hong Kong. There's no way you are going to any Hong Kong, he said to me. You're 7-year apprenticeship, you've already been out with Celtic, you'll make the grade in Scotland.
Your dad was confident of that, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
you're doing well.
He's spoken to Jock Steen, please.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so my dad said to me, look, Jimmy, I don't want you to go. But I turned it around, look, Dad, they've offered me a good contract, good money, and you know I'll always look after you and my mum. You know what I mean?
Smart
So,
boy.
When you
So
say
much-
good money, you don't have to tell us. You can if you like. But what was good
oh
money?
no, back then it was all in Hong Kong
Hong-
money, so that was total.
So you're a millionaire. But
Yeah.
what did it mean in actual pounds?
No, probably back then, that would have been 45, 47 years ago. I think I got probably £3,000 signing on. And
What were you earning as an apprentice a week?
oh, probably £7 a week.
There you go.
Okay. £3,000
Yeah,
pounds
sign
signing
on,
on.
you sign on.
It's a big incentive, isn't
Yeah,
it?
so
It makes a difference.
So then, after that, my dad said, Jimmy, I don't want you to go to Hong Kong. You know what I mean? And funny enough, Jimmy, you haven't told me the name of the team. You said you're going to Hong Kong. I said, look, Dad, I was saying that to my best mate, Jamie. I'm a bit worried to tell you, Dad, you know what I mean? But it was Hong Kong Rangers. Right, you're definitely not going to Hong Kong. There's no son of mine playing in the Ranger strip, you know what I mean? So.
And you got through all that without dropping an F-bomb. Well done.
Oh, come on, George.
Good boy. Well
Who
done.
told you that?
I was just worried. I was
Who told
holding
you
on
that?
for dear life here.
No, no. I'm a good company here, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I've been warned by my
King
wife.
Kenny warned us, though, that there were aberrations occasionally, especially when you broke into song. So, yeah, we thought things are safe. It's
All
good.
right. So Dad said no to Hong Kong. He
But
was
you've
just
gone.
about turning, and then you told him Hong Kong Rangers, and that.
No, well, I kind of smoothed it over, and he, as I say, he was shocked. I had to pick him up off the floor, you know, and I said, Hong Kong Rangers, but he said, well, don't be sending me any photographs back home, you know, with the Rangers strip on, you know.
Absolutely.
So,
Sabotage.
as I say, we smoothed it over anyway, so I did decide to go, and Jamie, my kind of best friend, he was a bit older than me and kind of looked after me, even at 16 and a half. Jamie was about 18 and a half, so I'm glad I did it, because it was a bit of a good growing up experience.
Well, at 16 and a half.
standing-
What a
It's a
cultural
big adventure, isn't it?
awakening.
Yeah. Tell us about the football there.
It was actually really good standard, a lot of kind of Brazilians, Europeans, and I actually met a lot of kind of Scottish lads, English lads as well. There was kind of an English club, Caroline Hill they were called, and there was a lot of Aussies playing over there as well, and a lot of English lads who actually came to play in Australia.
Wow. And you would have played what in a sort of compound? They keep you and look after you.
Yeah. At that time there was about 30 players, and we stayed in a big apartment for 30 players. Yeah, above this Tagavam Gardens.
So what, they fed you? They looked
Lunch,
after you.
yeah. You had your maids running about cooking for you.
Good
and,
life.
Washing your clothes and everything.
yeah, happy days. Yeah.
How lucky were you? When I left home, I found out I had to wash and look after me.
No, it was good. They really looked after.
Yeah, I'm starting
After
to
you,
understand.
you know.
16, 17, and he's got the cushy stuff going on. He's got a sign-on fee.
Well, you should have gone to Hong Kong Rangers
I
when you had
should
the chance.
Yeah.
I don't think I was as talented as this young man.
No, it was a good experience to do that and stand on 1, 2 feet. And,
So how long were you
play
there for?
football. I was actually probably there 8 months. Because my dad then was pretty critical,
Oh, dear.
taking his first heart attack. So,
What, he heard you scored
I was
for
just saying-
Rangers?
I
He
was
heard
just-
you scored for Rangers, had he?
he had a bit of a heart attack when he heard that, you know what I mean? No, but I kept him informed anyway when I was playing and all that sort of stuff.
So
But,
Dad's heart attack brought you back, huh?
yeah, he had his first major heart attack then, and he had to go down to London back then from Glasgow to have his bypass, you know what I mean? So, obviously, at that time, obviously being his son, you know, first flight home, and the club were good about that.
Fantastic.
Obviously.
Huh?
So once I arrived home, yeah, my dad had been transferred back up to Glasgow, and after about a couple of months I was there, he was still pretty poorly, and I had to make a decision, yeah, and I decided not to go back to Hong Kong and
You stayed.
start my apprenticeship again. And I was lucky that my apprentice officer of the company, he said, if you ever come back, Jimmy, look me up, because you're good at what you do, being a carpenter. So I did that
So
until
a
tail
chippy,
between my legs.
special chippy.
I went to see him, and he said, Jimmy, no problem. So he was good, you know, the lad, and I started work again, and then I went to play junior at Pollock again,
Yep.
you know what I mean? And,
Which is a really good breeding ground, wasn't it?
well, yeah, Pollock Junior was really good. They made the Scottish Junior Cup final quite a lot of times, and Pollock were a good club to me. And through this Bobby Evans, who's a legend at Celtic, he was like a fatherly figure to me, who got me out at Celtic. And because it was funny, I went back to Pollock, and within 2 months, Bobby Evans said to me, Jimmy, I've just spoke to Bobby Collins and Jimmy Frizzle at Oldham. They're looking for a good centre-half, and why don't you go down there for 3 or 4 months and see how you go, even without signing a contract, play some reserve football. And so through Bobby again, away I went again down to Oldham.
So what happens to the apprenticeship while you're doing this?
Yeah, well, funny enough, the lad that I knew, you know, I mean, came and went, and he actually said, look, Jimmy, you know, and he actually gave me my apprenticeship papers. I think I only done about 2.5 years.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know how he did it, but I got my papers anyway with my apprenticeship. And,
Fantastic.
so that was really good. This lad did me a favour, and
Well, clearly he wouldn't have given you the papers if you didn't know.
No.
So
I was,
he would have been enamoured with what you offered.
no,
him.
even back then, being a carpenter in Glasgow, you were on bonus work, but I was like a tradesman, you know. I was earning really good money
Fantastic.
away from being a full carpenter, you know, with the football as well, you know.
So you went to Aston Villa, or you went to Oldham?
No, Aston Villa was the very first one through
Okay.
Russell Park.
Yep. Then you went to Oldham.
Yeah, I was there for about...
Good feeling, good crew.
Yeah, it was good because Jimmy
Was pushing.
Jimmy
you.
Frizzle and Bobby Collins, they were good lads, and Oldham is just outside of Manchester, and they always took you to United games, and I stayed in digs, you know, which a lot of kids did, you know, with a family, but they took in a couple of lads.
So what was it
living
like
with it. It was good, but I
watching
found
Manchester
it...
matches
Oh,
play?
fantastic, that was old, like Giggsy and, you know, Roy Keane, and up in the stands with Jimmy Frizzle, Bobby Collins, so that was really good. And they did look after me as well, but I was same again, I was only then 17 and a half, you know what I mean, so I was still...
Had you filled out? Were you always the
Oh, I
one?
did, I was a strong lad, I was a big lad, you know what I mean, and, you know, it was happy days, you know what I mean, but in Oldham I found it very hard to settle in the digs, and there was all these cotton mills about, you know, and even though I'm not racist, there was a lot of kind of, you know, African and
Yep.
all that about,
Yep.
you know what I mean, and I found it very hard to settle, and
Wow.
I was homesick, and then I went in to see the boss. I said, look, Bobby, I just can't settle here, even though I was doing well in the reserves and
Wow.
this trial period at 17 and a half, and
So did Celtic come calling?
no, that was another story, George, I was going to tell you. It's the way it pans out, you feel in life. So they get in touch with Bobby Evans up at Pollock, but in the meantime they phoned Eric Smith, who was a former Celtic player as well, at Hamilton. So within a day, he arriving back in Glasgow, Bobby Collins had spoke to his mate, Eric Smith at Hamilton. And so a chap at the door, I got home, chap at the door, and my dad said, it's an Eric Smith, no, Accies manager, looking for you, Jimmy, you know what I mean? So I said, well, don't have him stand at the door, bring him in, you know. So Eric Smith came in, who my dad knew of him because following Celtic, you know, this Eric Smith, you know. So then I signed the dotted line for Hamilton that night, and it was the same night. Gave me £1,000 a week, £1,000 signing on, and so that was great for me at 17 and a half again. Good wages, So I signed with Hamilton. So this was on the Wednesday night in my house, and then in the meantime I couldn't get my clearance to play on the Saturday. So I went back to Port to watch them on the Saturday, and Bobby Evans said, "Oh yeah, Bobby Collins phoned me, Jimmy, you're back up the road again." He said, "I've just been in touch with Celtic and it looks as if they want you out again." And I said, "Oh, you're kidding me on, Bobby." I said, "Eric Smith, your friend, has just been up and assigned with Hamilton on Wednesday night." So that was a bit of a downer, you know what I
Sliding
mean?
doors.
Yeah, so
Wow.
it's just the way it pans out. So I enjoyed my time at Hamilton for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So then I was about 21, and I met a good friend of mine who played with Alexander,
Yes.
with his name Arthur McMillan.
Uncle Arthur.
So that's when
Uncle
you
Arthur.
first caught up with Uncle Arthur,
Uncle Arthur, yes.
and the rest is history. Huh?
And Arthur, we were just like brothers right away, the same receding
So if
hairline.
you'd gone to Celtic, you wouldn't have met Arthur.
Well, that could be true, George, yeah, because me and Arthur
meant
were
to
just
be.
like brothers.
Things
meant to
happen
be,
for a
yeah.
reason.
So at the Accies, yeah, for a couple of years, and did well in the first team all the time, and progressing along the way, being a professional footballer, I suppose.
Any exciting games during that time that really they still stand in your mind?
Yeah, with the Accies, always we were in the second division.
Yep.
Because when Celtic Rangers played, it was the old first division, and then the second division was Hamilton and Clyde Banks, Mortons.
So you're playing in the
Yeah,
Scottish
so-
Cup at all?
Yeah, well, that was probably the highlight, playing against Celtic, yeah, in the Scottish Cup one year. In fact, that was the only time my dad actually
Watched you.
came and watched me play, and it was against Celtic, you know, at Parkhead. So,
So he would have been barracking against his son.
yeah, so my dad's in the old jungle, and all his mates were really,
There's a full house at
yeah,
Celtic,
Parkhead,
yeah.
probably then maybe 38,000, 40,000, so...
I would have warned him off. He's had a heart attack. Hey, Dad, you're not going into the jungle.
Yeah.
Not without me.
Well, that was called the old jungle at Parkhead, you know what I mean? That's where all the hooligans went, probably. you know what I mean?
Dear.
No, but that was a highlight for my dad watching me play against.
What about for you? What's your
know what I mean?
memories of that game?
Yeah, that was good because it was like the old Lisbon Lions then, you know, with my Billy McNeils and Harry Hood, Willie Wallace, Jimmy Johnston, you know, all the legends.
Did you
Parkhead.
actually, during the game, come up against
Yeah, well,
Jimmy
obviously
Johnston?
I picked up, mainly centre half,
Yeah.
you know, I was picking up Willie Wallace and Harry Hood, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we did well that night. I think we just got beat 2-0, but then when we went back to Hamilton, there was a two-legged affair, or it might have been the League Cup, yeah, it was a two-legged affair, and they beat us 5-0 at the Accies, you know what I mean? Ouch, that was bad, but it was really a pleasure playing against these sort of guys, and it was a good highlight playing against Harry Hood, Willie Wallace, and coming up against
Did you go home after the game against Celtic and have to listen to your father sort of crow?
Yeah, well, obviously I was glad Celtic won, you know what I mean, and I didn't score against them, you know what I mean, but no, it was good. As I say, my dad was really pleased for me playing against them. Obviously, I'd liked it the other way, me playing for them, you know what I mean, which all fathers do, you know what I mean, back in Glasgow, playing for Rangers and Celtic, you know what I mean, but
It doesn't get any better, does it?
Well, the sliding doors worked definitely in your favour now that we think about it, because you wouldn't have met Uncle Arthur, or wouldn't got to
Oh.
play with Arthur McMillan.
well, that's true.
And then that friendship wouldn't have started, which then got rekindled when you both turned up at Fitzroy.
That's correct,
But
yes.
to get to Fitzroy, you had to go via another great breeding ground,
Yes, sir.
or a selling ground for that matter,
Yeah.
a trading office called Slavia.
Yeah.
But tell us how you got to sign, or how you got to move to Slavia. There's a bit of a story there, isn't there? There's a family story.
Yeah, it's a bit of a long story about coming to Australia. Well, the same again, how it pans out in life for you. But at that stage, I was still playing at Hamilton, and in the process, my wife now, which was my girlfriend back there, Annie,
Yeah.
we were in the process of getting married back in Glasgow, even prior to the Australia thing happening, and we were in the process of getting married. So back in Glasgow, we were all mixed marriages, you know. Obviously, my mum and dad even my wife's mum and dad, and
Catholic and Protestant.
yeah, that's correct. Yeah, no, I mean, but I haven't got anything against
No,
because
no.
all my good friends were Protestant. You know, getting brought up, you know, a bit of banter with Celtic and Rangers. But so in the meantime, our mother asked us if we could get married over in her parish because Anne's mum was Catholic.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But I was a Catholic boy.
So you've
And,
almost sought this out.
Yeah, so I said, well, no problem, you know what I mean, we'll go over and went down to the parish priest, you know, my wife's mother's priest, and we spoke about getting married. Her father, I'm Jim O'Reilly, Rose Gebby's daughter, and would like you to marry us. I said, no worries, Jimmy, you know, happy days. So all went well, and yeah, and they started asking questions to my future wife, you know what I mean, Anne, who was brought up Protestant. So that was all good, you know what I mean. And there was an old Irish priest, and he said to me, well, Jimmy, quietly, you know Annie won't be able to bring up your kids the way a Catholic mother would. And I said,
What?
you are kidding me on, Father, you know what I mean. I said, you are totally out of order here. I said, I tell you, Father, there's no way you're marrying me because my mum was a Protestant and brought me up Catholic, which I still went to chapel to this day, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so forget about it. So we got walked out, you know what I mean? So Anne's,
No wedding.
so we kind of called the wedding off, you know what I mean, prior to that. And then I was still playing at Hamilton. And at that stage we were in and out as about 4 good centre-halves then.
Gee.
And it's funny enough, my wife's mother's sister phoned me up this day, Jimmy, I know you're not happy at Hamilton, you're in and out the team, but there was an ad in the paper for Australia that's came up, this lad's looking for players, you know what I mean, why don't you phone him up? And I said to him, Annie, I think I might be a chance at Anne, you know what I mean, and go and meet this guy in Glasgow Central, you know, in Glasgow. So
Do you remember who it was? Do you remember his name?
I can't remember his
yeah,
name.
cool. Yeah.
It was
So he says there's a team in Australia.
yeah, I
It's
met
called
him at
Melbourne.
a hotel in Glasgow, and they said who he's from, a team called Slavia.
Slavia.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I didn't know nothing of them, so he gave me the details and wages, and you know, there was no signing on fee. They paid your airfare, and then once you got there, they promised you the world. You know, put you in the hotel, get you a job, all these promises, which sounded fantastic, you know.
So
what I
you mean they didn't follow up?
No, they didn't follow up on that. So eventually, yeah, I signed for them, you know what I mean? So it was a bit in and out of Accies, and so I went back to Al. I said, look, boss, you know what I mean? I'll do you a favour, and you know, I'll just leave the club, and you know what I mean? And he was happy with that because there was too many centre-halves at the time at Hamilton, you know what I mean? And eventually, within 3 weeks of nearly getting married, I was in Australia playing for this Slavia, which was another journey in my football career.
Did you ever believe there were that many hours in the air involved in this journey from
No, I didn't know.
Glasgow to
I actually came with a lad, this Frank Thompson, his name was, but I didn't really like him very much when I got to meet him in Glasgow. He was a bit of a, I don't know what he was involved in Glasgow, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I was up at his apartment before we left, and there was a big banging on the door, and he said to me, Jimmy, be quiet, be quiet. So who have I met here? You know, I was in this
The collector.
tenement building in Glasgow, and I was actually really a thing for myself, you know, where am I? So I came with this lad, Frank Thompson, anyway, and we stopped in Singapore on the way over, which was probably good for a couple of days.
Gee,
So they did that for us, Fran, you know, we did stop in Singapore.
that settled your nerves.
It did, so that was good in Singapore for a couple of days, then we arrived in Australia together, and
Was it a cultural shock for you? You arrived
Well, it was-
1975 or 73?
75 I came,
75,
yeah,
yeah.
that's right,
Okay.
yeah, and the same again, you know, I arrived at this lad's house, his name is Vince French, I think the president's name was back then. Yeah, Vince French, and they took me to, the two of us to his house in Ivanhoe, and I said, when did we settle into our hotel? He said,
This is
this
the
is
hotel."
your hotel, you know. So that was one.
Leafy Ivanhoe. Little did you
And
know.
Ivanhoe, yeah.
Listen, Ivanhoe at 75 would have been something. to
Yeah.
behold. It was clean.
Yeah, oh, well,
no pits to worry
probably
about, no
was.
coal mines.
It probably was, George, but Frank went somewhere else to live with someone. I ended up staying with Vince French, and this cub, I don't know what you called it back then, it was like a cubby house out the back garden.
Small bungalow.
Let's
Yeah.
take a short break. You're
No,
listening
nobody's-
to the story of
Yeah.
Jim O'Reilly, our pioneer on FNR.
Welcome back to the Pioneers, Thursday evening at Football Nation Radio. You're with G1 George Donikian and G2 me and our special guest Jim O'Reilly on the Jim O'Reilly Show.
Correct.
Yes.
Jim McLean, another Jim,
Yeah,
comes
Jim
in and says,
McLean.
top man now, Jimmy. Have a great night. And a little bit further on, Jim, Jimmy Rooney, Theo, KT and Arthur and Yer Auld are looking very pleased with themselves. Must be because I've shown them this photo. It's a photo sent to us by Robert Nelson.
Oh, Robin.
Rap.
So
Good friend.
there are a whole bunch of people here. Chris Bainbridge, always hard but fair. A good guy to referee with a real sense of humour. I asked Chris Bainbridge, did you wear shin pads? He says that yes, they were compulsory even in the older days. What did you find? How did you find the referees in those days? And Chris Bainbridge, by the way, is
Yeah.
coming on the Pioneer scene.
Oh, really?
So tell us what you really think.
Next week.
Good things and the bad things, yeah. No. There was good referees because you knew you stood with the referees with Chris, Dennis Vitsinus, John Fraser. And John was Scottish actually, John Fraser, you know what I mean, if you can remember
Dennis
him.
never sent you off, did he?
I think he did.
There's a
And
good
I think
chance.
Chris did
There's
as
a
well.
good chance every ref that ref in
Yeah.
that era may have sent Jimmy off.
Yeah.
Graham Hayes reckons if we don't send him with a red card, he should sing his way out.
Yeah, well, I didn't mind a wee sing-along, you know. But, no, you knew we stood with Chris and Dennis right away even before the kick-off. They used to come up to me and just say to me,
Warn you.
"Well, Jimmy, let's make this easy. Let's have a good day today and no shouting, no hard challenges, and then it'll be all happy days, you know what I mean?"
Well, that's what, when we had Dennis in on the show, he said that before a game he would pick the
Players.
alpha males in each group and attack them verbally and get them under control. And he felt that if he had the alpha male in the group under control, he could generally control the herd. So that was good man management on his part, and I'm sure Chris will tell us next week that he probably worked along the same methods.
No, the same thing, you know. I mean, they told you, look, Jimmy, that's your booking, so next time you're off. So then you know where you stood. So then you kind of, not that I was sent off, mate. I couldn't tell you how many times I was sent off, you know. But everybody took me as a volatile, hard.
That's because you were.
You know.
Wasn't
Somebody
there
said
a
it was
time
hard
when you
and fair
actually
whether
decided-
that counted, you know.
Jimmy, wasn't there a time when you actually were so convinced that you deserved to be sent off you did walk?
Oh, well, that was the end of my career, probably, when we all joined Croydon City.
Dad's Army.
Which they did call his Dad's Army, George. Where did you hear that from?
Craig McKenzie.
Oh, Craig McKenzie, I know that.
We shall blame Craig for that title.
Yeah, well, that was another
It
story
stuck.
at the end of our careers where the name Peter Ollerton, as you know, legend centre forward for Australia and Hellas,
Terrific player.
where I used to play against Peter quite a lot, and I did play with him at Footscray, actually, Peter, you know what I mean, and so he was at the tail, we were all at the tail end of our National League days, and Peter had a vision at Croydon that he could sign all these experienced older guys for all round the National League, you know what I mean? And he did, you know what I mean? And
Yourself and Kenny Taylor and Alan
it got to
Kerr
all
and
happen,
Jimmy Tansey.
and Tans, myself, Kenny,
You had a good time there, didn't you?
Jimmy McLean.
You won easy.
Yeah, so then, as I said to you before, guys, I won things at the beginning, early days of my career back in Scotland, playing amateur, and then at the end of my career with Croydon, where we won 2 championships, and I think we ended up semi-final in the National Soccer Cup against Croatia, where I thought we should have beat them that day. So that was a really highlight at the end of your career.
Which is a great segue, because speaking of the middle of your career, the Slavia was the bit that got you out. That was the crucial part,
yeah, back
right?
to that, yeah.
So from there, you got your entry and your big transfer, which was probably Slavia's way of paying for your fees and
Yeah, well, that's right.
profit on
Yeah,
you.
that's what they did back then. Yeah,
Yeah, that's how they traded.
And
right?
his hotel room expenses.
Yeah,
remember?
yeah. So Slavia have balanced the books and made a profit, and you've moved on to Fitzroy.
Alexander, yeah.
What are your memories of the move, and what you thought from the difference in those two clubs, and what's your memories of Oldham?
Well, the same again. I was very lucky at that stage as well in my career, where I knew I was good enough, and the National League was coming up. You know what I mean? And same again, I got a good opportunity. Obviously, Alexander must have had chief scouts out looking at players in the State League back then, and obviously they chose myself and Jimmy Tansey back then. Who
Did you go?
So
Did you
they
go
needed
together?
smarts. They needed smarts and an enforcer. Is that how it works?
Yeah, well, that could be true. Tansey was a good left peg, playing balls up the line, where I was more an aggressive player than Jimmy, you know what I mean? Which was good. We complemented one another.
Yes.
You know, to get by Jimmy, I always got him on the way through, you know what I mean? But no, so that was good with me and Jimmy. We became good buddies at Slavia, and we got to know each other very well. We became good
Easy
mates,
job,
and
easy job.
so then I think at that time, Slavia picked up $18,000 for the two of us.
Ooh.
You know,
Pretty handy signing on.
It's a lot of
How
money.
did
So-
you go out of that deal? Did you get a sign
No,
on?
we
No
did.
sign on fee?
No, we obviously had a very negotiated your own contract when they came. No, I mean to sign us up, yeah. And obviously we got some signing on money, and everybody was on the same wages.
They got a serious enforcer who knows how to play football, and a chippy who could do all the carpentry around.
Yeah, along the
the
club.
club.
It
Yeah,
would have been Brunswick Street at the time.
yeah, but it was all Fitzroy.
The old
Alexander,
Fitzroy,
yeah,
Brunswick
and
Street.
that was a pretty terrible ground. What I can remember, you know what I mean? But
It's
But
picturesque
you
now.
love the style of football they played, didn't you?
yeah, well, the Greeks, the same again. It was a mixture, as I say, Greeks, English, Scottish. The Greeks were probably more technical on the ball.
Flamboyant.
Yeah, but then again, you know, your Jim Campbell, your Kenny Taylor, you know what I mean?
What about your
they were-
Croatians? Were they also, you know, that lovely fluid play?
Oh,
that
well,
you saw in the
obviously,
Continentals?
you know, the Croatian sides, probably the Yugoslav, you know, the Footscray.
Yep.
They always liked playing total football, as you probably,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, keep possession and playing in triangles and all that sort of stuff. But sometimes
Are
that...
we doing this today? Are the football clubs today playing this, you know, whatever suits them, or are they trying to play this neutral type of game where it's either possession based or it's counter-attacking based?
Yeah, well, I think, John, the game has changed a lot from back in the good old days. I think over the last probably 5 years, with all the different style of coaching, you know what I mean? And I think even myself, Kenny, you talk about games, and sometimes it's a bit boring to us now. You know what I mean, with the possession side of football, with square passes, back away, playing along the 18-yard line to an opening, you know what I mean?
But you can play possession football and be really attractive. And one of those
Yeah.
sides that's doing that at the moment is, if you look at it in the English Premier League, is probably the best example is Tottenham Hotspur.
Tottenham, Manchester
They
City.
come out of the
yeah.
back. They come out of the back,
Yeah.
and it is possession based. But by golly, they get the ball forward and
Yeah,
quickly.
yeah, we're all fit players. Yeah, Manchester City is another one
Ooh,
where you
like
look
it,
at
folks.
them, but they kind of wait their time till till an opening comes up, even if it is near the 18-yard box. You know what I mean? But a lot of clubs are doing that, but a lot of times, a lot of clubs even they've got a lot of possession, but they're not penetrating a lot, and it's so boring. You know what I mean? To watch a game, even sometime Melbourne victory, Melbourne City, for instance, Melbourne City last week. They lost possession
driving
against
insane,
Newcastle,
yeah.
but it was a terrible game to watch if you're a Melbourne City fan, you know.
Yeah, no, it's mind
They
numbing
didn't
sometimes.
penetrate
You
it.
know they can do better. You're urging them to go
That's right,
forward.
George. Yeah.
But let's just come back for a moment. You're someone who understood the angles and defences. Do you believe in zone defences, or do you believe in man and man?
No, back in my day, you were told, Jimmy, you're marking Peter Ollerton today.
That's
I
it.
don't want to be touchable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get in his face the whole game, or else you could be dropped next week. You know what I mean? Be your coach. You know what I mean? But you wouldn't get a second chance.
Peter Ollerton talk a lot.
Yeah, well, Ollie kind of flattened my nose a couple of times with a few back headers. You know what I mean?
Elbows?
Which was all good.
Elbows?
Yeah. Oh, not so much. No, Big Ollie was a big boy and going up for headers with Ollie. Like a lot of centre forward there, I was kind of head backwards, and the centre half always copped it if he didn't get up above it to win the ball. So Big Ollie, you know what I mean? But it was all good. You know, back then you respected the players. As,
Out of those guys
you know,
who you played against in the National League,
oh, for
era,
sure, yeah, the centre forwards, and I played against a lot of them. You know what I mean?
Ollie obviously you mentioned, but
Do
who
mind
else? Who else?
association. Do your mind
John
association.
Kuzmina.
Well, I could go on and all.
John Kuzmina.
Cosy,
Tell us about Cozzy.
Well, Cosy is a pretty moaning type of guy where you were in his face, you know what I mean? But oh, well, that was always part of the game. Oh, good day, Cosy, you know what I mean?
Did you have him in your pocket?
Most times, yeah. Most times, because he kept moaning all the time, you big Scottish, this and that.
Did you tell him
know
any
what I mean?
Polish jokes?
Polish jokes? Well, that's when Cosy played with Hakoa back then, you know, he was a good... You know, you came up a good against his John
Who was-
Kuzmina,
yeah, who was the most
Frankfurt,
difficult?
Um,
Or who had 1, 2, 3?
Well-
Which ones really did you struggle against, or didn't you?
Well, honestly, there were all good strikers, and the guys that came out back then, the end of the careers from England, like Charlie George,
Yeah.
ex-legend at Arsenal, he came to play with St George. And actually, I
This
was...
Budapest at Barton Stadium in the Old NSL.
That's right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I always remember it was his first game, and Fitzroy went up to play St George, and it was this Charlie George's first game, you know what I mean? But he hadn't heard about Jim O'Reilly, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, obviously the first tackle, you know what I mean?
By
The
the-
usual back then, went right through him, and
By now he's heard of you.
I did take the ball and take him as well, right enough, you know what I mean? And I said, welcome to Australia, Charlie. You know what I mean? And he didn't like it. You Scottish, you know what I mean? You know, so... But then again, you know, after the game, we shook hands, and I think we won the game 2-0, Alexander then, and that was Charlie's first game. So, yeah, we respected one. I had a drink after the game in the club rooms, and I think that was the thing back then, playing against your Kuzminas, Farinas, Ollertons, Charlie George, and then another big name came to play with Hellas back then was Malcolm McDonald.
Ooh.
Remember George that played with Newcastle, and it's the same again. I love playing again. These type of guys, you know what I mean?
Well,
'cause
it's
you
testing
reach your
yourself.
game.
You're testing yourself.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you know what I mean. So Malcolm McDonald was another one, and I could go on and on with centre forwards that came out with Alan Evans, Liverpool
Superstar.
lad.
Yeah, no, he's a superstar.
And I must admit, Alan was a handful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I couldn't really pick.
Was it the wily? Was it the thinking his way through the game that made it difficult?
Yeah, that's right. Alan Evans, he was so smart, and obviously playing with Liverpool for a long
Yeah.
time, and Ollerton was just a big aggressive type guy where we competed, you know what I mean? And probably Kuzmina as well.
Who were your goalkeepers?
Back at Alexander?
Yeah, at Alexander.
I think the first one was Willie Whiteside, I think.
You would have had Blasby there, and then Jim Marner, and
Blas,
then a young Jeff Olver.
Well, that's right, yeah. I think.
Jeff wouldn't have said a word, would
No,
he?
well, Jeff was young then. Him
He
and
was on the way
Charlie
up, him and Charlie
Yankos
Yankos with the next breed.
and Theo.
Salamides, by the way, thanks you very much.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Theo's a good lad, very good
He
lad,
didn't
yeah.
realise that Uber had started so early in Australia. You used to drive him everywhere, didn't you?
That could be true, George. Yeah.
You used to
Theo's got a
pick
bit
him
to
up
thank
and
me for, yeah. He never bought a car till he was 40-year-old, I think.
That's
Theo,
right.
you know.
That's the Salamides. That's, how you
So,
that's how you get ahead. You don't
yeah, well-
spend the money.
Well, that's what I'm saying with Heidelberg. It was so good family club. Everybody really got on with one another. And just another thing, we bringing up Jim Marner. And I think I heard from Kenny, if you're listening back in Scotland, Jimmy,
He's always listening.
He's
every
probably
week.
waiting for you to sing.
I want to say a big hello to Jimmy and his wife.
Yeah, and a happy happy birthday to
And I
him.
hear it was
Yeah.
your anniversary last week, Jimmy
Yeah.
and Audrey. So a big all the best to you both, and hopefully myself and Annie can get back in the summertime and catch up.
Is
You
he
caught
a
up with them recently, didn't you, a couple of years ago?
All the best. Yeah, we did, but it was a very quick in a local pub. And that was another story because they told me it was a Celtic pub that I walked into a Rangers pub.
Oh no,
You
he
know,
set you up.
Whether they set me up or not, you know what I mean?
He stitched you up.
We always go and visit Jimmy. Jimmy and Audrey were another part of the family, and even from 40 years ago, we still keep in touch. And
Jim O'Reilly,
good
I'm
friends.
getting a feeling, and
You know.
G2 has too, and we had a chat to talk to you before we came on here.
Yeah.
And the thing I think we've both come to understand is you've had a magnificent career.
Oh yeah, I can't believe
You had a
it.
marvellous time. You were given some gifts. One of them, of course, was this license to become a carpenter. But you also had a fabulous fighting spirit, and it's carried you on this magnificent journey from one end of the world to the other. But you and Annie have built for yourselves a terrific life. You've had 2 sons.
That's
They
right.
didn't follow you into football, the round ball code. One of them's a basketballer, and the other one was, I think, an AFL
As
player.
you know, yeah.
And of course, that
Big,
stopped you
big
probably.
strapping lads they are
Are
too.
they?
Oh, yeah, two
So I have to
boys,
be
yeah.
respectful here.
Yes.
Okay. Do they sing?
They do join in. They do join in when back in Scotland you're brought up with sing-alongs.
Do you still remember the words? Jimmy?
Well, George,
Jimmy
is that a trick question, George? Come on. You've heard a lot
I
of
think
stories.
Hazy, who's one of the 2 poisonous dwarfs we've had on.
Oh, well, Graham
Him and
is,
Georgie
yeah.
Campbell.
You called him
2
poisonous. I'm not calling him that.
Well,
So they were saying I was a good singer, like?
Hazy wasn't actually.
No,
He was
Hazy.
actually saying you weren't a good singer.
Yeah.
And in fact, he questioned whether you would remember the words.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to make sure I told you that and it got back. So I want to see how fast he runs the next time you see him.
Now, let's
No,
see
pretty
how
true,
much
yeah.
you still remember Jim O'Reilly.
Yeah.
Join in.
Okay,
Anytime
join in.
you feel like.
Well, it's Saturday night about 8 o'clock. I know where I'm gonna go. Gonna pick my baby up and take her to the picture show. Everybody in the neighborhood is dressing up to be there too.
Oh my God.
And we're gonna have a ball just like we always do. Saturday night at the movies. Who cares what picture you see? Oh, when you're hugging with your baby, so off the balcony.
And Yer Auld. Fantastic
Well
effort.
done.
And by the way, for those of you who've just
Happy
decided
days. This is the
you've driven off
Pioneers.
the road, it still is the Pioneers.
Yes.
It's just another channeling moment for our special pioneer, Jim O'Reilly, to show us not only
Oh,
how
happy
they
days.
used to occupy the hours on the buses when they were driving from
That
one
could be
ground to
true,
the
yeah,
other,
all the Greeks.
but how much fun they had playing for different clubs from one end of the country to the other. What was the NSL like in those days? Come on.
NSL was great, you know, the big crowds,
Great matches? Remember some
Oh,
special matches?
playing against Juventus. Obviously, the big ones were Hellas, which a lot of memories.
Did you win or lose against
No, I
Hellas?
think back in the day we had the Woods over Hellas.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
you had to win over Hellas. Did you
No,
play in the
with a lot of
5-2?
good-
Did
good
you play in
play.
that 5-2?
Yeah, well, that's the one I was going to bring up. That
Yeah.
was
It's one of
that
the
was
special days,
amazing.
that
You know
one.
what I mean?
There are some fans downstairs lining up.
Yeah. No, obviously,
They want
with,
autographs.
with the derbies against Hellas, they were the pinnacle to play in.
Why? What made them so special?
Crowds for a start.
Well, you said, George, like Celtic Rangers, Preston Macedonia,
Yep.
Alexander, Footscray, Croatia, Liverpool, Everton. And I think you've got to have these rivalries, you know, because it creates interest and, you know, they're great games to play in, you know what I mean?
And the
And,
community's really got behind them.
you know, and you knew most of the Hellas players, like Stevie Blair and Georgie Campbell,
What, the White Pele?
you know what I mean, Paul Wade.
Hang on. You played against the White Pele,
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
and you live to tell about it. He always told us he used to show you a clean pair of heels.
Oh, well, I did at times, but when, no. I gave as good as I got. You
I
know,
want
and,
to touch. We've touched on the strikers and the wingers.
No, but the
and
5-2 game was probably one of the highlights because I think we went back to Jim's Tavern celebrated.
Oh,
yeah.
This was tradition, wasn't it? You'd
Oh,
win
the
the
Greeks,
game, and Jim's Tavern. If you haven't been to Fitzroy,
Oh.
you don't know what you're missing.
Any games we win, the fans put it on. The fans were terrific, you know what I mean? they put money up for every goal you scored and shared it around and then took you gyms.
And did you have to drink anything special, like a
everything.
or
raki? Obviously the ouzo.
When it's free, you're drinking everything. I just want to get, with your return to, we're going to run out of time.
No, happy days, yeah.
But the important part is the return, your signing at Fitzroy meant you met up again with your great pal Arthur. Now, I do want to mention again, because we've mentioned your friendship.
Yeah.
He worked for you, is that
30 years together?
We
these
were
two.
partners, all the time.
So
Business partners.
These sliding doors, the Hamilton, then back to Fitzroy,
yeah.
and together, and then you played, and you formed a great partnership at the back, which also included, I'm pretty sure, early days Paddy Bannon,
Pat, yeah,
and then the young
Jimmy,
Charlie Yankos,
Jimmy Tansey.
and Johnny Eisendorn came after. So there was a procession which started from you guys, a great lineage that went on.
That's right.
But as a mate, did you two talk about who and what was going to happen during a game? Did you line people up before? I want to know.
No.
Was there a lot of pre-planning, or was it just off the cuff? Because not a lot got through you two.
We did have a good backline, you know. I like Paddy could handle himself.
Paddy
and,
could put it about.
Arthur, myself. No, it wasn't a thing. That was just our game, you know. That was kind of hardened into us back then, you
Played
know.
to your strengths.
Not so much thou shalt not pass, you know. No, we were hard players, but fair, you know. If you win the ball, you win the ball, you know. But no, we were just a hard unit at the back, you know what I mean. So if players did get by Arthur, obviously I was there to cover, or Jimmy Tansey.
That's what we remember.
You know
It was
what I
a
mean?
pretty
Everybody covered one another, and obviously Georgie Campbell get by one, but then he wouldn't get by the other, you know what I mean?
If Tomo doesn't get
Same
you,
as
then
Tommy
he must.
Cummings.
Yeah, O'Reilly will.
No,
Yeah.
same as Tommy. Tommy was another one, quality winger with Tommy Cummings, who was a good friend of mine. He was at my wedding as well, no Tommy.
Low centre
Peter
of
Lewis
gravity.
was my best man.
You mean low centre of gravity, Tommy Cummings?
Yeah, well, they two were at my wedding when we eventually get married in Australia after a year.
Well, no, Peter Lewis is listening. He told me he'd be listening.
Oh, well, hello Peter. Hope things are well out in flooded Townsville up there. Hope you're doing well.
I don't think
Hope your
Townsville's
house
ever
hasn't
seen
floated
water.
away.
Townsville's never seen rain like that.
No, well, no.
Unbelievable.
As I say, my wife, I'm not a fan of Facebook, well, I'm not on it. My wife speaks to all these guys, says, Jimmy, it's Tommy on, it's Peter on, you know, Jimmy Campbell, but I'm really not a fan. I'm not that type
No,
of...
Anne makes up for it.
Anne tells me everything that's going on Facebook. I don't want to let people know where I'm at and whatever I'm doing, but happy days, everybody wants to do that sort of stuff.
That's fantastic.
But
Fantastic.
all good. No, but you say with Arthur McMillan, yeah, he was the best mate anybody could have, and playing back in Scotland. And when I heard he was coming through Jim Adam, he told me, and I said, oh well, you've signed someone good there. And Arthur was about 5 years older than me, so Arthur would have been about 28 when he came here, 27. But he was still. Arthur could have played for Australia, you know, if he came at an earlier age, because him and Tansey was excellent, you know what I mean. But he never got a chance, you know what I mean, to play for Australia. But obviously he was a legend, Alexander.
Yes,
And
like yourself.
and we were like brothers, you know. He came here, he lived with me for a while, and I gave him a job with my other partner, my brother-in-law, and we kicked on from there, yeah. And then we became
Kieran Coyle has written in, great man Jimmy, hard as nails, and you knew when he tackled you.
Well, thanks for that.
Spot on, Kieran. That's a great
It's time
description.
for us to go because the Lions Den is coming up right behind us. This has been the Pioneers,
No, but-
G1, G2.
Good evening.
You're going to say thank you?
Thank you, Jimmy, for taking the time and joining us. It's been a pleasure. Great to talk to you. We will have Chris Bambridge here next week.
Enjoy. This is the,
Thanks again, boys,
the
yeah, for
Pioneers
having
with
us, yeah.
the great Yer Auld.
Yer Auld. I could have gone on, boys, but yeah, it's been great, you know, been great. No, very good.
Thank you.
As I say, you can go on
It's
and on.
happened every
FNR, Football Nation Radio.
Putsianos, no call! Score!
Salamini for Cole. Cole on the run. Shoots. 2-0.
Lazanovsky with the free kick. Launches a rocket! Trimboli, what vision! Bath blasts. Yes! A ditch!
Miljevic.
Beautiful ball. Here's Bozanic. They haven't. They might have won it.
The Pioneers with George Donikian and George Kotsanis on FNR, Football Nation Radio.